This station rules the nation. True FM 96.9. Government Soul and Liberia.
Bum bum bum. It's Friday, man. Friday morning. TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. And I always like to start when you see the daylight. Dear God, thank you for the gift of life. Oh, the gift of life. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is the TBS, the Truth Breakfast Show on 961, the heart and soul of Liberia. 19 years ago, we've been in this business. Good morning to the 15 counties. Can we say this together? The love of liberty. The love of liberty made us here. And this is the big one. This is the big one. Let justice be done to all. Oh, man. Took by 9 people that say, let justice be done to all men. It used to be, let justice be done to all men. Women didn't have the voting right. But now it's not, let justice be done to all. Good morning, man. This is the TBS. My name is O'Neill. This is O'Neill Ora Roberts. Marka B. Davis running up to 10 o'clock this morning. In the midst of all the rigmaroles, all of the noise, should we stay country first? Yes, country is still first. It's not easy. You say country first. Let's have our morning motivation this morning, the Friday morning motivation. It says, winners embrace hard work. Winners embrace hard work. They love the discipline of it, the trade of they are making to win. On the other hand, losers, on the other hand, see as a punishment. And that's the difference. Bobby Blair had the same with our morning motivation. Yes, good morning, folks. Marka, good morning to you. Happy weekend, man.
Yeah,
Yes.
good morning. Good morning. We hope to have a good weekend.
Let's
We really
prophesy to have
Yeah,
a good
we
weekend.
really hope to
Hmm.
have a good weekend after, the stressful,
Week.
week, waking up
Yeah.
in the morning as early as you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
At the time when others are just starting to
Sleep.
sleep.
They have the first dream, the
And
second dream,
yes,
and that time we're up.
you're waking up
Mhm.
to come. And sometimes you see our faces like we still want to sleep.
Yeah.
Yes.
On the cameras.
Yeah, absolutely. But that is true, But again, this is what we signed up for, and we
Mhm.
want to say thanks to all of you who, can personally pick your phone sometimes after the show,
Mhm.
call to check sometime on a Saturday,
Mhm.
call to say, oh, how's the weekend going? We really appreciate that.
Mhm.
It shows that at least we are not wasting our time.
Yeah.
We're making some contribution to the country, and we are grateful for that. Good morning to all of you. Thanks for being with us throughout the week. This is the weekend's edition of the show. And yes, our friends always on the social media who join us in the morning
Okay.
to form,
You trying to go there?
yes, to form part of the show. We
Mhm.
want to appreciate you very much. And thanks. Let's have a wonderful weekend. Some of you will have a very, very, very wonderful weekend.
Mhm.
But for us, we are still hoping.
Yes. Big brother Abraham Shaw asked me one time and say, what time do you wake up? I said 4 a.m. and I start coming by 5:15 a.m. in the morning. He said, why? He said, what about Marka? I said, Marka,
Yes,
once he's not reading the news,
yes,
because he gets home at 9 p.m.
yes,
and he's on the morning show, so he had to wake up like 5:30
yes,
a.m.
at least 5:30. Yes.
So as I'm driving coming, Marka is in his tear dream. Abraham Shaw said, what?
That's why I'm still sticking around Police Academy.
Yeah.
Far from here.
5 or 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 5:30 as I'm coming, Marka has seen his last dream.
Yeah. Yeah, but when you sincerely,
Mhm.
sometimes I feel for you.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
because the
easy.
distance
The
and all of
distance
that is not easy. So yes, let's greet a couple of our
on the
colleagues,
Facebook.
our friends who have joined us this morning.
Mhm.
Lloyd Godwin Powers is following this morning from right here, Dupont Road. Our friend, I know they met our friends there.
Josh.
George Christopher will let a second. Yes, George is following this morning. He said, "Good morning, Unu and Marka."
But interesting that Marka will deal with Josh.
Listen to the man. Anything that is making over issue.
What is it again?
When we get Quran, we should start a show. This man is controversial.
Controversial.
Yeah.
And I see this email right there.
I tell you.
Yeah. I'm not choosing you should put them out of your office.
Yeah,
man.
but I said standing correct. No, with CDC when you put somebody else out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody say I've slept to RL
Who
jail.
will tell you? Yes,
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
Josh Wheeler, thank you for joining us. Stanley Willie is also following this morning from Mount Barclay. New Emmanuel Ware is following as well. He said for his reading room, we have Morris, good friend Jesse, this morning from Chicken Soup Factory is also following the show this morning. Wilson David, thanks for joining from Packard Pin in Painesville. Jerry Hutterson is also following this morning from Monrovia. We have Joseph Giddings, thanks for joining from as far as Banga City in Bon County, Central Liberia.
Okay.
Martin Zanga is following from Louisiana, Liberia, Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Yeah, I'm saying Louisiana.
Louisiana. No, Labrador, Louisiana.
Liberia,
See the profile. Let's look at the profile there.
Liberia, Louisiana. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You see the profile picture, you know what is in country with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one is too long. It's Ishmael. Well, Ishmael, thanks for
Ishmael.
joining. Oh, they name here too plenty from Wiala Margibi County. D Mark Baba, this is my friend and brother. Thanks for joining this morning. Say I can be up for why exactly. Hope that not what I'm thinking.
Look at that. Look at that.
Uncle Ma, thank you for joining this morning. Foley Tower is also following from Margibi County. J. Fasama College Junior is following also this morning. He said, thanks guys for the update. We are Sam Pontia Jero. Watching.
For Ghana.
Yes.
I bet the man is watching from Ghana.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pharaoh, what are this is meant to say Pharaoh, whatever it is, but good morning, thanks for joining. He said 19 years ago, RCR still moving stronger, GMB now wasted again for us. Oh, leave out to it.
The Bogana with it?
I said,
Who will tell you?
people get problem. Thursday, JMB now Wednesday again for us. Okay,
correct.
we are there. Leave us say well, good morning. Thanks for joining from Habel City this morning. Morris G. Perry is also following this morning. He said, thanks so much to you guys for the hard work. Marka Nyawe is following this morning. Zondo Livingstone Jackson is also following. He said from Red Light, the Republic of Red Light.
Okay.
What? Red Light? Moses Smith says good morning from Firestone this morning. Ben Estopa is also following. Good morning, guys. Watching from Port City of Greenville in Santa County. This is Jamel Francis following. G. Uriah Somerville Jr. the third. He said he's the proud son of Grand Bassa County and future host of the Truth Breakfast Show. Okay. I have quorum, so I'm running my traffic this morning.
Correct.
Brian Heenan is also following this morning from Zeze Community. On Road Dixon S. Doe. He says, what's up? Thanks for joining, brother. Dennis Kwesi Hoff is also following from Winnipeg, Canada. And Aloysius P. Flomo, as usual, is following this morning from Unification City in Lower Margibi County. Bobby.
Let's do two more, man.
Yeah, they do blend it.
You know, when David Kotu was teaching in high school, you got 20 students in the class, say, 5 person pass, the rest fail. You get your name and you fail.
Yeah. Darius Jallo is following Jacobtown this morning, and it's Lavito Benjamin Coman Pewala Jr. is following from Rwanda this morning. If you know,
yeah.
Okay.
2 more.
Andrew Faya, thanks.
On a condition.
Yes. Andrew Faya, thanks for following. Jesse B. Yasia, following from Soul Clinic, thanks for joining. And Sherry Moses, a bonus. Thanks for joining.
Okay.
Yeah.
Personal condition. Yeah. Let's pass it over. You see there?
Yeah.
Victoria Pabai.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Madam Victoria and Pabai. Good morning. Say in the library way, your morning, oh.
Yeah, we were okay, man.
Morning, Madam Papa. It's great for you to join us this morning. You always with us anyway by radio, but this morning you're online, following us online. Thank you so much. And Peter Toba, thanks for joining us. Well,
great. Yes, let's have the lineup this one on TBS. We'll have Quorum. Yes, so say Bobby Addison. We're good to go.
Yeah,
look, if you want to like, bro, be like 5 and 6.
I tell you.
Sometime after the show, Marka, I just switch football channel.
And some people can be taking these things very seriously. I should not take these things too serious, though. Especially some of the posts you see on social media.
Yeah.
So it's 25 April 2025. This show is proudly sponsored by Orange Liberia and EcoBank Liberia Limited, the Pan-African Bank. David Koti will join us shortly with the health tips, followed by the review of the local dailies. Why is the MICAT statement different from President Marka's statement? We'll look at that this morning, talk about that. Let's hear from the Liberian people. Is the president's statement helping to resolve the problem after the Supreme Court ruling? As he said, his government will work with Quorum to ensure that the government doesn't shut down. So we'll speak with the Liberian people this morning exclusively. Yeah. So from about 10 after 8, we open the lines to have interaction with the Liberian people this morning. It is very important for us to maybe not go detail of our own views and opinion, but
just want to hear
the opportunity to speak out this morning, the Liberian people. And at 8:35 to maybe 9:30, yes, we'll have the president of the Press Union of Liberia, Julius Kanaba, here with us on the TVS this morning, talking about the role of the media in the country, especially on national issues. So we'll have some of these things, and he will also comment on the upcoming World Press Freedom Day.
Yes,
we'll do that. That will be followed by sports entertainment commercials brought to you by EcoBank and Orange Liberia. Following that, we are asking the big question: is Liberia becoming a divided nation? We'll all talk about that at the close of the show this morning. In the midst of all country first, this is the Truth Breakfast Show. Thanks to all of you for joining us online and by radio.
Great, wonderful lineup. Yes. Let's bring our very young friend. Yes, handsome man.
And today Friday.
Friday?
Yeah, today Friday.
Friday for everybody.
You need to praise
sausage.
If we don't want to make the go bankrupt.
Let's say good morning to Mrs. Fatu Shaw. Today Friday, man.
Yeah,
absolutely. Kume, man.
Yeah.
Good morning, man.
I'll call to my working places here.
But maybe sure, I know your working place. Yeah. Very young man, handsome man. The first time Chancellor saw this man, I said, yeah, this is a very good looking man.
Started liking him for
no reason. Liking him for no reason. People started to get jealous. The first time David Koti shook the hand of Gange, handsome David Koti, Abbas.
1997 election, the major look at non-political party. He went to Taylor, met Taylor, came back to the guys. They think that not discussion. We carried it. The non-party we supporting Gange. The men say, okay, we agree. Somebody want to raise their hand to say, but Mr. Chairman, he said no comment.
No
supporting Gange.
Yes.
To support, and my man was John Taylor. All the people had other things on my side. My people, y'all took me to be your chairman. Y'all got to listen to me.
So that was abuse of power, David. You used your office as chairman to silence the people, manipulate them, and take the non-political parties to Charles Taylor.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but and a politician you gotta be convincing. You gotta convince people. And then the good thing about it, when I went and told Gange, he said every time and have lunch with me.
Okay.
I took the night. We all went there. We went and had lunch with him. I was even teaching one or two of them, so I mean, don't hold a spoon. And Gange can't joke too. I told him, I said, I'm always here. Don't hold a spoon. Let I take that.
In the election, the 2023 election, they didn't hold.
I said, my brother, that's my biggest disappointment.
In your whole political life, your whole political career.
That was my biggest disappointment. You can imagine the chairman of the 10th largest party in the country, ACA. You took your entire executive committee there. You all agreed to support the man. Then 9 parties elected you, called the CRPP. You carried the entire group there. A man like Councilor Rudolph Sherman, if I hear the word defeated in a race. Councilor Sherman, he was for the Tory party. Mariam, chairman of the NDP. Two former ruling parties were part of the group. We all went there. We had our lunch, my man. We had a good discussion. We can't talk all. Men can't talk all.
You don't know it all.
You don't know it all. That thing that happened, that election didn't go on. My brother, when I think about it, I want to get a heart attack.
Because the campaign budget.
God willing. God willing. I will be back.
God willing. He will be back.
Abbas.
I'm relaxed, man.
Abbas. A little from LPRC says she just love how Derek can say, I gotta get out of here.
I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. Okay, I will start now. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's hear you.
All right. Senator Samuel Koga. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what to get.
Senator elect.
Abbas, you slept well?
I slept well.
You sure?
62,000 votes. Even the CMC did not get. Oh, sorry.
Abbas, hold on, Derek. Why you want to start? You're not going to end it. You slept well?
I slept well.
Anybody massage you?
Yes. You know, as I told you, I have 4 people who bring my bitter cola now. They come and explain to me how bitter cola works. Yeah. You know, you can't buy medicine and from somebody and they can't tell you how it works, especially if you don't understand the English on it. Yeah. So I slept well. I sleep well always. So I come to work.
Okay.
People are worried about me, why the man leaving not gonna beat you out or beat house. Look, that's your business. I enjoy it. Oh, I enjoy it.
Let's hear you, man. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Today is Eye Day. We're talking about eyes today. 8 years ago, I met with an ophthalmologist or eye doctor who checked my eyes and said to me, you are developing glaucoma. Since that time, 8 years ago, I've been taking my eye drops twice a day, in the morning and in the evening. That shows you how serious this whole glaucoma thing is. Glaucoma is a silent sight thief. It can steal your eyesight because it is asymptomatic. Asymptomatic means you don't see any sign of symptom. It's just stealing your eyesight, but you don't know. If I had not done my checkup 8 years ago to know that glaucoma was dealing with me, by this time it could have been a different story. Oh yes. Glaucoma is simply pressure in the eye. It's different from your body pressure. Your body pressure is, it should be 120/80, sometimes 120/90 as you get older and so on. But the eye pressure is different. It is 20 millimeter, 10 to 20 millimeter. That's what it is, 10 to 20 millimeter. You have to go above that, and glaucoma comes in. But I want you to remember something. Glaucoma, sometimes your eyesight, your pressure in the eye can be normal, and you will still have glaucoma. This is why it is important to go and check it. I'm telling you today, I know about a lot of prominent people in this country today who have gone blind completely because they did not know. Big people, they did not know, and they're blind today. Nobody will remove your eye. It will stay right there, and it will operate on it. So I will advise you to please go and check. And when they check it, it will tell you this is your problem. And when you get to know it soon, you start taking your medication, it will be okay for you. Remember this, cataract is also another cause of blindness. It is the clouding of the clear lens of the eye. That black part of the eye you see there, the lens on top of it is clear. It's clear. But when it starts to get cloudy, then you will have problem with glaucoma. 2 years ago, I was able to know that too. Oh yeah, 2 years ago, when I got to know that I had cataract in my eye, I went to the JFK, they removed it, and they gave me new lenses. There are 2 new lenses in my eye now. So you need to do that too. Either for glaucoma or for cataract. Now, don't let anybody lie to you like I always say. Nobody in the world would ever remove your eyeball to operate on it. Not even Dr. Cadet. No way. Nobody in the world. The chief ophthalmologist around the world or in the world, he will never do that. If that happens, your optic nerve will be destroyed. The optic nerve is in the back of the eye. It is connected to the brain to enable you to see. So when you remove that eyeball, it will be destroyed and you will see normal. So don't let anybody lie to you. Don't get scared. It takes about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes with the new machines they have now. And if you want my advice, don't go anywhere to spoil your eye. Go to the JFK. They have professional people there, and they have the equipment there to do the job. So don't be afraid. God willing, I will be back.
Okay.
But in the meantime,
yeah,
I'm gonna get out of here. I need to see Coca this morning.
But do you know that today is Friday?
Oh yes, I do. I know today is Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, I know today is Friday.
And Friday should be for everybody.
Friday for everybody.
It should be for everybody. That's correct. I agree with you. Yes,
Okay.
for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. God willing,
okay, beer.
I will be with you.
In
God
a
willing.
minute.
Oh,
Like I something like that.
Hello. I'm really sitting right there at you know, when I leave my house, I'm gonna have breakfast somewhere else.
To chocolate or to country chicken?
Crocodile.
No, I left the crocodile, the country chicken, and the hot chocolate all on outside there. I'm right now at the Outer Lagoon.
Wow.
I'm trying to go and have buffet now.
Okay.
You know, the buffet is very cheap, $10. Just go and eat and just drop the $10 and leave.
Okay.
That's all. It's very cheap, very reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
I gotta get out of here.
Okay.
All right. We see you. Thank you. Difficult to our health is a regular feature right here on the Breakfast Show 961, the heart and soul of Liberia. Up next is the review of the local dailies. Yeah, so welcome to the review of the local dailies. Yes, interestingly, those of you watching online, our first stop is the Inquirer newspaper. Yes, the front page of the Inquirer newspaper. Yes, it's on the newsstand for $40 Liberian. Put control for is what captured on the front page of the Inquirer newspaper. Executive charges legislature. Joseph Boyka is up on the front page of the Inquirer. Grab a copy. Government as economic growth is speeding up in Africa, but what the World Bank is captured here on the front page of the Inquirer. You can grab a copy. Liberia to host historic 8th Amman Summit. Who is here? This is Rabok Pade. Let's go to the back page and see where it's on the back page. The back page of the Inquirer. If I can get my hand on the back page, yes, Marka, you can rumble for the next paper this morning.
Yes, the next paper is the Heritage.
Okay.
Yes, the Heritage. Let's go for the Heritage this morning. The Heritage is the next paper in line. Just I'm not seeing the back page, but let's go for the Heritage. The front page of the Heritage newspaper.
It's already up.
Yes, the front page of the Heritage newspaper. Wakai administration responds to Supreme Court ruling with bold call for national unity. I'm seeing the president photograph here. The sub-lead story, wake-up call to President Wakai. House chaos threatens national stability. And Liberia settled fully its 2025 IMO deal. I top global maritime seat. Is this another sub-lead story? Let's try to find the back page. The back page of the Heritage. I'm not sure. Okay, yes, the back page. The back page of the Heritage is here. Sama Koga sweeps Nimba by election as NEC declares landslide victory. Well, I'm seeing now Senator-elect Sama Koga on the back page of the Heritage newspaper. World Bank pledges massive 490 million boost to Liberia's development. Accelerate Boakai administration's arrest agenda. And White Boss warns against examination malpractices. Set to commence 2025 examination Monday.
Okay. Yeah, Monday.
Yes, finally, Jetty launches drilling project to alleviate water crisis at South Beach. That's the Monrovia Central Prison.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm having difficulty going over the paper. Let me just get up to the Independent is our next stop this morning. Yes, the Independent, what is captured on the front page of the Independent on the newsstand for $50 Liberian. Sam Odim is the managing editor, the front page of the Independent. Liberia clears US 7 million maritime due. Holds African Maritime Administration Summit is captured on the front page of from the Independent. You can grab a copy. Kun preaches separation of power. Slim Supreme Court's ruling is what captured on the front page here of the Independent. The majority bloc speaker Richard Kun is here on the front page. Kun preaches separation of power. Slim Supreme Court ruling on the front page of the Independent this morning.
Yes, the newspaper is next. The newspaper is the next paper, and on the front page of the newspaper, I'm seeing the photograph of the information minister. Says in search for common ground, government wants Supreme Court ruling obeyed. This is the statement by the information minister. Humble man who is saying this. Wakai describes late Pope Francis, signs book of condolence. And still on the front page, WAEC boss warns against examination malpractices. Set to commence 2025 examination beginning Monday. Let's go to the back page. The back page, Liberia to host 8th African Maritime Administration Conference. Senior government officials certified in modern technology. This one, 5 women jailed for alleged trafficking of 14 minors. Liberia fully settles 2025 IMO dues is also here. Landmark decision, ex-presidential candidate extols Supreme Court. Who is this former presidential candidate? This is Dr. Joshua Turner. Yes, Joshua Turner is here. So finally, young people must be part of decision making in climate action, says LYCA.
Okay. Great. Yes, let's just do one more.
Okay.
You want to do the front page? Let me just put it up quickly. Yeah, the front page Africa. You want to get the front page Africa for those watching online? We're trying to do.
I'm not finding the front page.
Do you have what do you have? The Verite?
Yes.
Okay. You want to get out the Verite?
Yes, they have the Verite newspaper.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, the lead story problem unresolved. President Marka acknowledges Supreme Court's ruling. Yes, the president is captured here on the front page of the Verite newspaper. Koga takes the crown, wins Gonglo Way with 52.08% of the vote. I'm seeing the photographs of the senator-elect Summer Koga and candidate Edith Gonglo Way, and also the photograph of the late Senator Prince Johnson. Still on the front page, 5 women await court trial for trafficking 14 children. Finally, on the front page, put country first. Governor of Liberia calls on lawmakers. Let's go to the back page. The back page, Bromsky raises alarm over mockery of Supreme Court. This is Councillor Charlie Bromsky, captured here on the back page of the Verite newspaper. Ministry of Health inaugurates National Health Summit. I'm seeing Minister Luis Poto, yes, captured right here. World Bank pledges 490 million to support arrest agenda. I'm seeing the finance minister, the public works minister, and other government officials line up on the back page of the Heritage. Finally, Linu Moniba applauds Supreme Court ruling. This is former presidential candidate and political leader of Linu, Dr. Clarence Moniba, right here on the back page of the Verite newspaper.
Great, thank you so much. Thanks for all of the calls, the messages we are receiving, the SMS. Thank you so much. This is the True Breakfast Show 961, the heart and soul of Liberia. This one is you versus us on the first segment, right? We want to hear from the public. You know,
do you want us to play the president's statement? And then
yes, we will play it. Yes,
so.
It's fair enough. Sometimes let's hear from the public. I know most of you cherish us for our views, our comment, our own analysis. Please, thank you so much. But we want to hear how ordinary Liberians are reacting to this. Interestingly, I came on a motorbike, riding from Gville, passed through red light, hearing different misreaction. Some are saying Boka is not ready. Some are saying Boka ready. Some say Boka have overlooked the Supreme Court. But we want to hear from you this morning. So let's play the president voice after the Supreme Court have ruled. Those of you watching on the screen, this is the Chief Justice, Siane Yo. The Attorney General opinion for which the self-styled majority bloc is acting on is of no relevance to this court. That's what she said on Wednesday. In extension to that, she also went on to say, this is CNN Yo up on our Facebook page right now, those of you watching, that the conclusion of the Supreme Court opinion and judgment of December 6, 2024 is that any setting or action by the majority bloc to the exclusion of a speaker, the duly elected presiding officer of the House of Representatives while he is present and available to preside is unconstitutional. So if the majority bloc have a quorum, they don't have a legitimate speaker. So say the Chief Justice. And Joseph Boyka on yesterday, His Excellency, I want to put up a picture while playing the audio of the president, right?
Yes.
Can we do this? Let's do this. They want to hear from the ordinary librarian people. Marka, please cue the president's for
exactly.
Yes.
So yes, let's try to want to do this so that some people who did not have the opportunity to listen to the president can do so. Yes, so we are trying to cue now the voice of the president. If really, let me know.
Yes, give it a play.
Yes.
Yes, just give it a play.
Let's give it a play.
Yeah.
April 23, 2025, the Supreme Court of Nigeria, the nation's highest arbiter of justice, delivered its ruling on the Bill of Information relating to the ongoing impact of the House of Representatives. As President of this Republic, I acknowledge the ruling of the Supreme Court. As all note that the House of Representatives. Accordingly, my government has already initiated broad consultations with the relevant national stakeholders to determine the most appropriate and constitutionally sound path forward. We have actively involved our traditional and other national leaders in addressing the matter. In doing so, we remain fully committed to preserving the sanctity of our democracy, the principle of three separate but coordinated branches of government. Fellow Liberians, our Constitution and the Supreme Court have defined what constitutes a quorum for the conduct of business in the legislature. We intend to vigorously uphold this vital principle of our constitutional democracy. We will continue to work with a quorum that would ensure the full functioning of our government. Over the past months, we have watched with growing concern as the division in the House of Representatives remains unresolved, undermining public confidence in our most vital democratic institutions. Tragically, we have also witnessed the torsion of the Capitol building, a national symbol of democracy, by arsonists intent on sowing chaos and discord. Today, we received report of acts of vandalism intended to desecrate the dignity of our public institutions and buildings. The police are investigating. Let me be clear, under our leadership, the government of Liberia will not be held hostage by narrow interests or acts of lawlessness. The work of governance will continue and nothing will distract us from our duty to serve the Liberian people. We are a country governed by laws, not by mobs or self-serving ambition. Those who undermine peace, violate the law, or seek to disrupt national harmony will face the full force of the law and justice. To all Liberians, I urge you to go about your daily business, your lives peacefully and confidently. Your government remains functional and steadfast in its responsibility to deliver services, maintain order, and uphold the values of democracy and good government. I call on every elected leader to remember their oath, not to themselves, but to the Liberian nation, state, and people. I call on every citizen to rise above division and demonstrate the enduring values of patriotism, unity, and national purpose. As we seek political solutions to the impasse, let us do so with calm heads and committed hearts, ever mindful that Liberia is bigger than any one of us, any one person, party, or position. We will protect our democracy, we will preserve our peace, and together we will move Liberia forward. That cover?
Okay, yes.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah.
I like the part that says Liberia is bigger than any one person's interest.
Yeah. So
Yes.
the main argument here on the social media will do best with those
The
that have
quorum.
the quorum.
That's
The quorum thing bringing the whole argument about. But again, the Chief Justice has said, the Supreme Court has said, let's say the Supreme Court has said, the majority block, those who have the quorum, they have the numbers, but there is no legitimate speaker. So if you listen up to the president, he respect all of the Supreme Court rulers and things. But let's hear from Liberian people, man. We don't want to think for you. Let's hear from you. It's you versus us on this segment this morning while we anticipate Julius Kanuba.
Yes, 0770-202579, 0770-202579. Let's talk. Yes, the first caller this morning is here. Good morning.
Good morning, Marka.
Good morning.
I listened to the president's speech, and honestly, if I were the president, I would do exactly what he has said that he would do. That is to work with the majority. Because in this situation,
well, he did not outrightly say you work with the majority that, but he says with quorum. Anyway, you can interpret quorum as majority, no problem. Go ahead.
So who's not working with the majority? The Supreme Court has started working with the majority. They boycotted the president soon now because, according to them, Richard Koo was not a legitimate speaker. But notwithstanding that, they are still receiving their benefits and other things from the budget that Richard Koo signed. What an irony. So the young people here, they are not sincere in what they are doing in my mind, the Supreme Court.
So the Supreme Court decision, should we respect the Supreme Court decision or that?
The Supreme Court decision is supposed to be respected if it is a respectable decision. But they cannot be saying one thing and doing another thing. They are saying that the people sitting is illegal.
All right.
That they still honoring the illegal thing that they are doing.
Okay, let's hold you there.
Let's hear you. 1 minute per call.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm to the James White. I call for Tuesday.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I think the majority brought the kind of quota, meaning that they got a number. But this is what happened. Me as a lawyer, I want to get my opinion on what the Supreme Court, the ruling of the Supreme Court. So the majority brought was in error. At which time the Supreme Court didn't file a bill of information. If you feel that you want to take the pressure off that you do not want to listen to any verdict from the judiciary, that right to have no right to tell about the court. But for the matter of fact, you go for the hearing at the level of the court. They show that you expect the particular way based on government to be the based on government that exactly the law. So that was contradiction on the attack. Something they should all stay. But if they couldn't tell up from the majority block, the people could stay here that the people never cannot stay here because they accept the pressure of government. But you cannot, even the lawyer to have representation in the court. And even there's so many information that you guys can be on the table, your people with the idea, with the position, they get me on the Twitter. The only thing I can see is that the president has said, because he is the only one person that we all want to into. But as I said, the guy that we know that over have said the president. To me, I'm calling on him. And I'm a lawyer. I'm Anthony Law. I'm calling on him to do the main thing because that guy and the president is executive without a lot of
Okay, thank you.
Yes, let's pick up another caller. Good morning. Thanks for your patience. Morning.
Good morning, O'Neill and Marka. This is incoming Representative Milton Yuko from District 6, Maserado County. I know Marka can be laughing. You know the thing we're practicing because very soon we'll get there. And
Milton, not run into your 1 minute per call until you become a lawmaker. Go ahead.
I agree, Chief. This thing, we just confused, they try to confuse the common Liberian people. We are suffering, our children are out of school, there is no medicine in hospital, electricity is struggling to come on, and the country is supposed to be moving forward, but instead the country is divided. If I were the president of this country, I will not be talking street talk. I will call Richard Koo as my son, who I know he was elected on my party, I would tell him, Mr. Kong, even though you got quorum, say you got a quorum, you're not getting legitimate speaker, you'll go back to session.
Because that's what the code say.
Yes, you see what I can remove the speaker the right way. But when you divide this country like this, will not be able to work. Mr. President Boga got to stand up, and add an African president too, so that some of these problems can be solved. Thank you very much.
Stand up and act like African president. Yes, 2 for my end, 2 for Marka end this morning. Yes, we try to balance it. Yeah, so both have quorum. Morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. Go ahead, Chief.
I'm calling from Samakatan. Good afternoon.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm so downhearted this morning on listening to the president's speech last night. The president has divided this country. If I were him, I was just going to tell the two parties to step aside. Or they go by the statute court and ask you the referral procedure. But now you have divided the country. I don't know if Fernando Kufa is going to resign. And if he does not resign, the international community, they're going to see Liberia differently, seriously. Things that are happening in the country that no. So we're going to pray God that Fernando Kufa should resign. But if he does not resign, there will be a problem. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's go for this one. Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Carla. Right here.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys so much for the hard work. But why is on my mind this morning is about our road.
Oh, the rule.
The Chicota we have been called up. I knew one looking and help us. He created the other day, but still going to post up to him. And since they were going to want our district to appreciate us.
Okay. Several comment, you have an email.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Jacob Town.
Yes. Good morning.
Thank you, Marka. And let me say good morning to people on this route. This is for us of Prince Kolake. So I think from the statement that came from the president, it clearly shows that he's in defiance of the opinion of the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court has said any quorum that does not have legitimate speaker is considered as ultra viral. So the president wants for us to keep working ultra virally. No, I think what he should have said is to call it two party. If you don't have that means to convince the recognized speaker, then you should be having that means.
But Prince, didn't you hear the president? Didn't you hear the president say, along with other national stakeholders, they will engage the parties?
And well, his president got it wrong when he said he will operate with people that have the quorum. I think we feel we have graduated from this stage, and by now the president will be thinking about reconciling totally the lower house. Well, the statement the president offered is very divisive. I listened.
Okay, that's your point. Let's take this next person. Good morning.
Good morning, O'Neill and Marka. Look, yesterday, I'm Joseph after the work of the arrows in the president's agenda is being disrespected. He has already validated what I said. The opinion of his justice minister misled him. The opinion the man gave, it was his reliance on working with the written language administration. At this time, I expect the president now to ask Richie Kuhn to say, okay, you got to go back and do it properly, because as he said, nobody is bigger than Liberia. So as Richie Kuhn is as well. The best you can do now, ask Richie Kuhn and his group to go back and do it right. Or for the after son. And negotiate for the have already made the premise. He said he wants to negotiate. But to come to us and say he will continue to work with the poor, there is no thing that is about it. The president already said to us he will continue to work with Richard Kuhn. Who is he working with?
So I understand that we must obey the ruling and opinion of the Supreme Court. There's something critical when the president talked about this quorum issue. So other people say, well, Kofa now should try all he can to have quorum, and others are saying if he doesn't have quorum, then what happens? The government pause, or what happened?
If I was a president, I was going to say to the Republic, the legitimate speaker now, to do all he can to resolve the issue. Thing you could have cleared as the legitimate speaker. But the president did not say anything, about even wanting Kufa to be the head of that place. He said we will continue to work with the quorum. Yes, I will continue, or we will continue to work with the quorum. And what is the current quorum there? The written American block. But don't forget to know, Mr. President,
so doesn't that also indicate that if the legislature resume and Kofa has quorum, the president will work with him?
So then you come to make it clear to say upon the return of the House of Representatives, we will do our best to resolve the issue and work with the legitimate quorum. But he said we will work, we will continue to work with the quorum.
Okay.
So for me, that's what issue. The host of the two breakfast show for now that O'Neill Rabble and Marka, unless one person will not be there for that day, they ask another person. So if I will continue to work with the two breakfast show, who I'm working with O'Neill and Marka, the president said we will continue to work with the quorum. There is nothing different.
So if Kofa have the number, you can work with the quorum. No, okay. No, I'm asking if Kofa make the number, you can work with the quorum.
This president, following that speech, if you analyze the word that word, the president yesterday I told you that who can to even make that statement of rejection. They have a trial packet from somewhere. See now, there is even clear issue of statement on behalf of the government. After it was not enough, the president again came out and issued another statement. It was still not enough. You years ago, Christopher Hayes on another appear to make another statement. So, O'Neill, whether Kufa can get 50%, this government will not work with Kufa.
That's part of the Supreme Court ruling.
Okay, thank you. Oh,
great.
You have a caller?
Yeah, go ahead. 077. No, the feedback is bad.
Good morning, please lower the volume.
O'Neill, thank you for taking my call. There are certain things that, one or two things that people don't seem to be grabbing on. The government cannot be shut down. The president said, I will work with the quorum. You see, he's saying whether it's this group right now, who that call themselves the majority bloc, or the minority bloc. You see, if he shuts the country down, he's going to be detrimental. Most of the questions should be going to the Supreme Court, not the president. The president should not be the one to be interfering to the extent where he's practically taking over all the different entities that make the government. You see, some of the questions you're supposed to be asking is what the Senate is going to do, what the House of Representatives is going to do, what the Supreme Court is going to do. You see, these are the ones who are practically in the middle of the ocean right now. So if the president stops working with the majority bloc, the country is going to shut down. So we need to open our eyes and see clearly. We need to move forward. And that's why he said, I will. He didn't say, I shall work with them. Shall mean must. See? So will means it's open. We can do it with both sides if one side is qualified by the Supreme Court. Thank you for taking my call.
Okay.
Yes,
small call. Please make use of the line 0770-153-265. Let's go to the line and pick another call coming through this morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, O'Neill.
Morning.
Yeah, I was on the line.
Maka cut you
Oh,
off.
cut
It
you
can be
off.
so, man.
When-
Stop it. Don't let me call you. Don't let me do the real cutting off. My man, go ahead, man. Yeah.
Yesterday, there are three key things I saw for the president's speech. The first one is he recognizes the role of the Supreme Court, and the second one, he also talks about maintaining the peace of this country. And then clearly the one is widely spread across the country about the quorum. Marka O'Neill, it was actually interesting to know that in my second level, I actually want to be a Liberian. This one is actually interesting. This president, civilian already sitting on the fence, they are sitting watching the city's government fail. And the president makes it clear to everybody, to the entire nation, that he's going to work have a quorum, she will work with Fonati. If the majority of black have a quorum, also work with that particular quorum.
So the majority black, the public is concerned. The majority black have a quorum, but they don't have a legitimate speaker. The Supreme Court don't see Richard Kuhn as a legitimate speaker. That's a concern from the public or on the social media. Even the common man wants to know.
Yeah, that's true. But the problem, there's going to be after ourselves a period. We can shut the country down. That's the point of the president. The country going to be saying, this is the president very plain. We can shut the country down for self-interest.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. No, I'm hearing myself in the background. Move on your monitor. Yes, go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much for this topic. You getting me?
Go ahead.
Thank you. You know, the government found ourselves in a state of dilemma. However, as the president said, there's a need to find solution to the problem. And I don't see this for which
I think you need to lower the radio in the background.
Those who are blasting at the president. The president did not say, I will work with Richard Cole Black. They say we will work with Quorum. Fonati, by law, legally, by the Supreme Court interpretation, he is the speaker. But if the government can function without having a quorum, absolutely not. Quorum may not be a speaker, but you have a block that has a quorum.
So the biggest debate on the social media and in the public at large, Richard Kuhn have the quorum, may have the quorum, but the courts have said they don't see him as a legitimate speaker, and that and the court view should be respected. That's what the public is concerned about.
Yeah, okay. The president is recognized as the speaker, but how is the government function if he does not have a quorum? That is the dilemma. And the president, the sitting president, without quorum, if the government does not function, it becomes a failure. So that is the dilemma of the government. So the only thing you can do is for both parties, you want to compromise. Because the ruling is no different from any Snow and any Tano. The any Tano saw is that you could not have quorum, he has to resign. Snow saw it that you were a legitimate speaker, but you could not have quorum, he has to resign. There's a same old thing repeating itself.
Okay.
You see, whether we recognize Fonatikofa as a legitimate speaker, but if he doesn't have a quorum, the government will never function. And the concern of the president, whether the Supreme Court right or wrong, is for the government to function.
So as we take leave of you, this is going to go a long way. So most of the senators are saying we listen up to Delon. So the court has spoken, so going to work with the legitimate speaker. So this is going to go a long way. This thing is far from over. Okay.
If the legitimate speaker can find to have the quorum, and the president does not work with him, then we bring the president.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I want to play Dylan voice. Let's hold on. This is what Dylan. I hope you don't apologize for this. Yes, Dylan was fast in responding to after the court ruling on Wednesday. This is Senator Dylan. You stop calling. Yeah, please make use of the line. We're announcing you're having serious disruption in our internet. Yes, call the 0770-153-265. Please do it. Yes, you having serious
0770-202-579. Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, Marka, and good morning to you. Let me say a pleasant good morning to His Excellency President Jose Imakwaka. I'm David Thomas, and I joined the conversation from the Flora Crew time.
Okay.
Let me say a very big thank you to the president for being very independent in his decision. The reason Samuel Coker about to go join his colleague at the House of Senate is because of the majority votes. So when the president is saying that you will work with quorum, I don't see him taking side in that. So when Fonatikoba won the case, it's true that Fonatikoba lobbied with police to raise quorum and the president work with him. I think the president has said the right thing. So people shouldn't politicize what the president has said.
All right.
No error about saying you will work with quorum. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Okay. So we'll play Aaron Snow voice. Let's play Darius Dillon. This is Senator Darius Dillon responding right after the court ruling on Wednesday. This is Senator ADD. Okay. ADD right there, right? Yeah, I think you can one in the news. You can pick calls them, see if we get us know.
Yeah.
Yes, this is far from over.
That
That should be a serious negotiation that should take behind the scene before May 6th.
Good morning.
Yes, man.
Yeah, good morning, Marka.
Morning.
This is Bobby, everybody calling on Kakata.
Go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, from my view, the president's statement last night is welcoming. I sort of say, Fanati, you need 37 members in order to get on quorum. You can get it 37. Majority you need 49 members in order to remove Fanati, and they can still get it. You have said last year to convince the Korea to join to get on quorum, but up to now, there's no miss. You have to pursue one person to join. So the project is going to be on a hostage. And the president said, I'll do business with a group that has to grow. If I'm not able to convince the police from now to tomorrow, the other tomorrow to join, to reach the number and get on quorum, simple, the president will do business. The president said, I'll do business with any member that has get on the quorum. That's all. You know, say, oh, my general block or fanatic group. Just get on quorum, I'll do business with you. Simple as this. I don't think he said anything wrong. Thank you.
I see why people all on Facebook say they're selling quorum. What kind of country is this? What kind of country is this? What kind of country is this? Let me take this call. Good morning.
The quorum for sale?
Yeah, quorum for sale. What kind of country is this? Good morning. What's going on?
Well, hold on.
Something happening. Wait, let me try to get you.
Yeah. Maybe they meant the RLG.
Oh,
yeah.
Wait.
Thank you, please.
Maybe you're RLJ this morning because I learned that 25 lawmakers slept at RLJ last night. Go ahead.
That regroup?
That regrouping, that Vandana Patrick regrouping. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so the reason they are 25 is for who try to get quorum. Yeah, so
I ain't say whether that Richard Cool and Kofa, but I know 25 lawmakers were against sin at RLJ.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, your name, please.
Yeah, Marka.
What's your name? Your name.
Joseph.
Okay.
Why are they trying to maybe address in the statement of this president? Statement did not say anybody who get a quorum. He said you will continue to work with quorum. And the Supreme Court also already said the current quorum is irrelevant to the court. So until the president can say any of them who will have the quorum and legitimacy, then it means the president is standing on the side of the law. But he said we will continue to work with the quorum, meaning the one that is existing. The thing the president did not say, why should we be adding it on the statement? Unless maybe Only can give us a replay. Well, perhaps some of us maybe we can get good for me.
Okay.
Maybe I did not hear the president, but he said we will continue to work with the quorum.
Okay, that way. Yes. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, great. Let's pick this call on the line. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, go ahead. Your name, go ahead.
My name is Patrick Eastman. I called for on wheel this morning.
Mr. Patrick Eastman, go ahead.
Yeah, basically the legislature is concerned because it's the first branch of government, and with what has been happening is concerning. I think the president's message on last evening was like the initial something coming from the court, where the court was ambiguous, did not give the full reliance to either end or the side. And so it's predicated on the lawmakers now from the lower house to whoever side can actually convene a quorum to make sure that the country's job is done. Because if the country's job cannot be done, it will be placed on store because neither of those sides can take the quorum thing serious or make people to believe in what they do, then of course the president would just continue to remain with the numbers where the number is. You and I know that legislature is a different board game. That it's all about numbers. In America, the Supreme Court came with the ruling. The ruling was fair enough, but the both sides telling you say I got numbers. The other side say I'm able to have 50% to sign to a resolution, and now so let them prove it. So the court has ruled, and when they call for a session, whatever side that will put up the number, and I think it will be fair enough that the president do business with them. Yeah, because every lawmaker knows, every representative knows that the court has already ruled. And so if they feel that Kofa doesn't have the confidence anymore placed in him and decide to subscribe to Richard Coon's part of black, then of course the president will continue to do business with Richard Coon. So I think the president was fair enough, especially speaking promptly as soon as he returned without resting to speak about what has unfolded in the country. It shows that he has the interest in what's happening there. He wants to know what's exactly happening there because there's no way the president can function, adequately function when the legislature is there.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Patrick.
Right there, O'Neill. And thanks for the show. I'm following the show. Thanks for the show.
All right. Okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Patrick Eastman.
You can't wait.
Good morning, Marka. How you doing?
Oh,
Please,
just to give us his feedback.
yeah, please lower the volume of your monitor.
Yeah, sorry for me because Madrid, they beat Madrid power, so only just sorry for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm just Freeman from the Broadway, and you know the issue only about the quorum. The country cannot be hostage on a serious note because the executive control tend to the people more than any other branches, and that the executive everybody depend on to do things, work and other things and development. So if you come to that, when Kofa does not have the quorum, what do you expect? What do you expect the government to move? The government should remain hostage? No, until Kofa can get a quorum or the tutor. If you got it tutor, it's no problem. You got a quorum, it's no problem. But when Kofa going to get it, because we learned that election some 25 lawmaker was in LRG, whether for Kofa, whether for whosoever, we don't know. And the president said, a lot of guys on the social media misquoting the president's statement. The president does not say I will work with Kun majority, this and that. No, he said I will work with those who have the quorum. So who have the quorum? It could be Kofa, it could be Kun. So I think the president must not be misinterpreted because the president is staying in the country. So I think we need to think twice. The government got to move so that Kofa Freya and get a quorum or a tutor, then we can do better. We agree the legal side they have already been done. But the legislature, when it comes to the political aspect, it's about 70%. They declared that done just 30% only. So I think we need to move forward, and the government need to move. So Kofa should work to get a group whatsoever there is okay. But until you can get it, the government will move. The government will not be strong with a few group of people from opposite those sides. No, they will not work with
that. Okay. So just post the women voices. I did have the president as our quote.
Okay.
Yes. We will continue to work with the quorum. Yes, quote. That's what the president said. More calls? Yes, more calls. Good morning.
Good morning,
Morning.
I'm calling from last point.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, today is my debut on your show. I always follow your show for Fennel.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah, good morning to my favorite journalist,
Okay, morning. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, what happened in our house is that people should understand separation of power. Yeah, and no ruling can come from the Supreme Court that will supersede the politics of the horse. So what's coming from the executive is that people shouldn't be saying that, the president last on the president, so he should go and tell the legislator to say, you ought to, why you fail to not do. Yeah, you get me?
We getting you. Where are you?
Yeah. So people shouldn't put the burden on the president. The burden lands on the lawmaker themselves. Okay. They will solve that problem.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning.
Marka, you see, I think this thing from the onset was just meant to trap the president. And I don't think actions to the president, and even the president himself, I don't think he was far-sighted to see how best he could control this situation from the initial stage. Like everyone will say, you know,
the president is from the executive, the issue is happening in the legislature.
I agree, Marka. And some will say the issue of the legislature is constitutional and then it's also political. But what is happening here is that if the president should say in his wisdom that he will continue to do business with those that will have quorum, then I care to ask the question, those that already have the quorum, how did they arrive at having quorum? Did they arrive at having quorum the legitimate way or the colossal way? From the Supreme Court ruling, the Supreme Court was very emphatic. While it is true that the majority bloc has quorum, but in having this quorum, you did not follow the procedure to have this quorum. That's the ruling that came from the Supreme Court. So if for any reason the Supreme Court said, look, you have the quorum, but you did not follow the procedure to have this quorum, go back to status quo and see, we are not against you removing the speaker, but follow the procedures according to your own law to get the speaker removed. So if the president, I believe what the president should have done in his wisdom, you have Richard Kuhn on your side already. Where is the true Richard Kuhn the quorum? But the Richard Kuhn got this quorum legitimately? No. So to continue this entire situation, because now you, Marka, if the president cannot use his political wisdom in this case, this country will be held hostage. If Funati Kofa will not be able to call those from the majority bloc to join him, there will be no. And Richard Kuhn cannot run business because the quorum he has was not legitimate. That's the point. So I think the president to continue this situation using his political wisdom, and tell him, look, chief, this is what the Supreme Court has said. We do agree that you people have your own laws from the lower house, but this is what the Supreme Court has said. So you can just go around the round table with Kofa. But from a lot of things, I think Kofa wants to give in. Because what I listened to from his past statement, he wants to give in. He just wanted to flex his
when he talked about the ultimate sacrifice?
Yes, Marka, that's what I said. I think he wants to give in. So on the other hand, he just needs to be very, rational and consider the country's friends and go and sit run the round table with this man, with this gentleman, so they can find.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. Okay, that caller is off the line. Good morning. Okay, wow. You're not ready. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your name, where you join us from?
You holding the line or what?
Good morning.
Good morning, people of Marka.
Morning, go ahead.
People O'Neill, my attention has been drawn to the president's statement and that of the letter sent from the judiciary to the Minister of Finance, requesting for additional allotment to the budget. People O'Neill, let me say here, the Supreme Court stated that every action by the majority bloc is illegal. Why is it that the judiciary branch of government is still requesting additional allotment to the budget with the illegal budget? For me, the statement of the president, I think that's the only best political decision the president could have taken. For the fact that Funati does not have the quorum and he can't do the Liberian people business. And Supreme Court stated that the majority of black have the quorum, but the speaker.
Your line is breaking. Good morning.
Yeah, O'Neill, you just listen to what Marka read from the women voices. Another thing, somebody said Funati is lazy. He get a quorum. I think both Funati and Richard Kuhn are lazy. It's October. Richard Kuhn came obtain for the night. Funati came obtain that they said. They both are lazy. But the
second to it was the president who would help to legitimize Richard Nkuro by withdrawing the security details and all of the benefits from Bonaparte.
They followed the Attorney General's interpretation of the first opinion of the Supreme Court.
So the very Attorney General opinion is yes, irrelevant. What do we do? They still oppose, and yet he is saying to us he will continue to work with the poor. And the opinion that was serving as his reliance has been broken down. What more do we want to hear as Liberia for us to know that it is the president or the executive that are empowering the self-styled majority?
What's the way forward?
The way forward is with the Kufa. If we're not able to get quorum from now to May 13th, if you're not doing as the Supreme Court instructed you to get 49 from here to May 13th, okay, but then we will go back to the drawing board and negotiate with Kufa, because no matter what you do, the majority will not want to take on a Kufa anymore.
New election for speaker?
Sure, but we now Marka that any regime in Unity Party that can be speaker. If the need is not there for regime to be speaker, no problem. They are all right. Well, let the Unity Party lawmakers also now a new election for speaker. Let Kufa resign. When you listen to Kufa's speech, he already waited.
Okay.
He just wanted to resign honorably, that's all. He has gotten what he wants. The thing is not for Richard to be speaker. Richard later, Kufa later, so the two of them cannot get additional members.
Okay.
This is about to reap again for the country. Thank you very much.
Okay. Regroup.
Interesting.
Okay.
Let's take two more calls and go for sports.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Raymond Kusuba Ravos, and I'm a Nero.
Okay, go ahead.
So thank you. So basically, in regard to the Supreme Court ruling, I think the Supreme Court was very clear more than ever before. The Supreme Court had defined to us what constitutes a quorum. The Supreme Court said to us, you can get 99.91 million persons sitting somewhere as representative. In as much as the legitimate speaker that was duly elected is now seated to spearhead that quorum is never a quorum. In as much as the speaker is around and he is not presiding over that quorum is never a quorum. So what validates a quorum is when the speaker spearhead the quorum, and that is the issue about here. The Supreme Court did not just about any other quorum, but the Supreme Court define what is a quorum. So we should not be discussing, oh, we define a quorum, no. The Supreme Court needs to understand that the quorum is getting that the non-president is getting. In a month that the speaker does not preside over them, that is never a quorum. And so what I think we can do now is let all the guys together join them, the country have to move forward. If you want to remove from the team, that is your right, you can remove it. But let's go according to the procedure. And for me to be frank, I was very disappointed last time from the remark of the president. I would not want the president responsible. The president is not a lawyer. Those guys who are lawyers around the president continue this meeting, those people are responsible. Number one, the justice minister. Number one, the legal advisor. I think they are not doing the president well. The Supreme Court has defined to us what constitutes a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Yeah, let's pick Emma's battled up. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, O'Neill.
Morning.
Good morning to my brother Marka. Anyway, I'm calling you from somewhere in Johnsonville.
Okay.
So O'Neill, you see where our country is going. The Senate is saying that they're going to work with the majority, Speaker Kufa. And then the president now is telling us that he's going to work with whom? So where are we going? The Senate is saying that it's working directly from the Supreme Court ruling just for yesterday. The Senate admitted that they're going to work with Kufa. So where are we going? The president needs to do something. They really need to do something.
So I'm seeing a post here from Representative Prince Toll, and Prince Toll posts on his official Facebook page. They will call Koran Gravy, but we will never back down. Kun is our speaker. This is far from becoming resolved. This is District 8 representative posted on his official page.
Representative, you see, you know kind of thing. And my own representative said, he tell me supporting the kind of thing. Lawlessness in our country. It should stop. I think it is now time that people can come back. Seriously, you need to come back. And only I want to mention one thing, please. Hello?
Go ahead, quickly as you take leave of you.
Yeah. So you see the chicken soup factory road, those guys are working the road there. It's like they are all for fun. Seriously, they are all for fun. They diverted the chicken soup factory from the junction to the chicken soup factory standing point. They diverted the traffic to the FPRC side. Okay, there's no problem. But at least when you diverting the traffic to where you diverting the traffic, you should be able to make the area private. Eh? But nothing like that. So nothingness from chicken to from FPRC junction there all the way to the quota or Johnson Bay quota there. We are catching hell. And just imagine we are almost like into the rainy season. You see, so the company now they need to do something right after the chicken soup factory turning point before taking the road to go past the town. There's a hell of a sitting in the mud. Hell of a beach. Then when you enter past the town, no, then it's worse.
Okay.
So they need to do something. The company that overtaking our road, they need to do something, and we're saying that they need to do it now. Thank you. Let's go for sports right now. We'll come back. We'll bring on the president of Liberia, President Julius Carnival will be with us right after our sports right here on the TBS this morning. They talk, we listen. So sports a regular feature right here on the True Breakfast Show. Let's link out this morning with Naomi Tapia and say good morning to Naomi this morning.
Liberia, hello. I'm coming with a heavy heart today because I have been following the attacks on the Honorable Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia. And as a counselor of law in Liberia, it is my duty to protect you who are consumers of the law, right? To make sure that everything I do as a lawyer is done with ethics, is done with integrity, so I protect those who are consumers of justice. Equally so, we who are lawyers are called to protect purveyors of the law, those who engage in the commodities of the law, including the Supreme Court. I have seen the denigration, the disrespect, the derogatory comments made about one of the three branches of government. And we sit in this country and we don't say, what? We act like it is okay. Our society is declining more and more and more. And those of us who know better sit here and just allow it to happen. We don't speak, maybe for fear, who knows what. But at some point in time, we have to let the young people know that this is wrong. No one, nobody, especially not appointed or elected officials in one branch of government should be disrespecting and denigrating another branch of government. There is a way to express your thoughts. Freedom of speech is necessary, but you are a reflection of the president. You in the executive branch, you are a reflection of our CEO. The president of Liberia. That's your boss. You speak on his behalf. How are you making your president look in the region? I'm not talking about in Liberia because people are monitoring us. How is an appointed official denigrating denigrating the Supreme Court of Liberia. You are making your boss man to look bad to his counterparts in the region. Stop it. And Liberians, stop going underneath their posts and liking it and encouraging it. The place where the post sitting, you're not sitting. You need to be worried about how you're paying tuition tomorrow. You need to be worried about which clinic you will take your child to when your child gets sick. Somebody not give you authority to go. You not put your hand on ratio. Do not go under nobody's Facebook post and be liking any disrespect to the Supreme Court. That Auntie Charlene telling you they want now, not Councilor Bromsky talking. Stay from the people in business, that be people business. What they're doing is wrong. I'm here to talk to the young people. Do better. Not everything is about your political party. Not everything needs to be political. The rule of law allows the Supreme Court to make determinations. I beg you, Papa. Let's live better in the country. And those of us who know better, let's try to teach the young people. You stay off Facebook. Do not go and post on anybody's post. Don't like it. Don't even go cause censor. Be quiet. Let them do the people talk. You're not inside you getting the gas slip. You're not getting the money they're getting. Stay out of their business. What they're doing is wrong. They're making the boss man to look bad. Yeah, thank you. Liberia, hello. I'm coming with a heavy heart today because I have been following the attacks on the Honorable Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia. And as a counselor of law in Liberia, it is my duty to protect you who are consumers of the law, right? To make sure that everything I do as a lawyer is done with ethics, is done with integrity, so I protect those who are consumers of justice. Equally so, we who are lawyers are called to protect purveyors of the law. those who engage in the commodities of the law, including the Supreme Court. I have seen the denigration, the disrespect, the derogatory comments made about one of the three branches of government. And we sit in this country and we don't say, what? We act like it is okay. Our society is declining more and more and more. And those of us who know better sit here and just allow it to happen. We don't speak, maybe for fear, who knows what. But at some point in time, we have to let the young people know that this is wrong. No one, nobody, especially not appointed or elected officials in one branch of government, should be disrespecting and denigrating another branch of government. There is a way to express your thoughts. Freedom of speech is necessary, but you are a reflection of the president. You in the executive branch, you are a reflection of our CEO. The president of Liberia, that's your boss. You speak on his behalf. How are you making your president look in the region? I'm not talking about in Liberia, because people are monitoring us. How is an appointed official denigrating the Supreme Court of Liberia? You are making your boss man to look bad to his counterparts in the region. Stop it. And Liberians, stop going underneath their posts and liking it and encouraging it. The place where the post sitting, you're not sitting. You need to be worried about how you're paying tuition tomorrow. You need to be worried about which clinic you will take your child to when your child gets sick. Somebody not give you authority to go. You not put your hand on ratio. Do not go under nobody's Facebook post and be liking any disrespect to the Supreme Court. That Auntie Charlene telling you they want now, not Councillor Bromsky talking. Stay from the people in business, that be people business. What they're doing is wrong. I'm here to talk to the young people. Do better. Not everything is about your political party. Not everything needs to be political. The rule of law allows the Supreme Court to make determinations. I beg you, Papa. You let to live better in the country. And those of us who know better, let's try to teach the young people. You stay off Facebook. Do not go and post on anybody's post. Don't like it. Don't even go cause censor. Be quiet. Let them do the people talk. You're not inside you getting the gas slip. You're not getting the money they're getting. Stay out of their business. What they're doing is wrong. They're making the boss man to look bad. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Let's see if we can link up with Judas this morning. Let's do this. Yes. Great. I'm not seeing Judas coming through the rifle camera. What's happening? But Judas, good morning to you. Maybe some of you out there got helping through. Yes, good morning to you, Judas.
Good morning, Odile, and good morning to everyone, especially at Truth FM and Liberian Journalists, Media and Communication.
Okay, great. So let's do some adjustment quickly. We'll come back to get Judas fully on the camera. Don't go away. This is the TBS 961, the heart and soul of Liberia.
I'm not supposed to laugh when you're too fast. number 0777 38 78 50. Or if you want to know all about our school, which is the FASA Our School of Excellence, you can contact us on our number 0886 357 062 or 0776 826 679. When the CEO of FASA Business Center asks you all black and drag glamour, don't ask you, just tell him that Liberian citizen John Slomo sent you.
Okay, yes, thanks for staying. Thanks for joining us again. We'd like to say good morning. Yes, Judah is always good to go now. We can get in live on camera. For those of you watching, this is the president of Liberia, President Julius Kanova. Judah again like to say good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning, O'Neill, and good morning also to my colleague, Marka.
Yeah, the press union. How's the press union of Liberia?
But the press union is doing good.
Official interview since taking over as president.
Woo! I can't remember, but I think yeah. Yes, the press union is doing good. We are moving forward to bring back the spirit of the union and to move the union in a positive and more constructive direction. After all of the rigmarole that surrounded the processes in 2022. Yes, so we are moving forward now. We'd like to thank our colleague for the opportunity to serve, but also the larger society for the level of respect and the tolerance and the level of dignity you continue to show the union as an institution of governance within our country. So the union has been moving, and constructively, positively, we are trying to rebuild, and the rebuilding process will take time. But yes, we have a task collectively to govern the media sector of our country, but also to contribute to the larger discourses on national governance, democracy, the issue of the rule of law, and crucially, on good governance practices.
Yeah. Great. Let's clear the cool for our own eyes before going out. Also, national issue first. Have you been able to reconcile the union since taking over as president? I mean, meeting up to the other side. The union have been had a rigmarole for almost 2 years behind the court. Have you been able to reconcile the both sides?
Well, to some extent, I will have to be honest. We initiated or we embarked on the process of reconciliation. We've been able to get the support of some other people who are not with us, but we've not been able to also get the support of some other people who are not with us, which of course is a part of the democratic mentor. But like we all know, we are a one union, right? And we have to move forward. We can agree to disagree, but the institution comes first. So in the last, yes, the institution we call the press union comes first. In the last few months, few weeks, we've been working extensively to reach out to people who we feel somehow not too happy at this particular stage. Yeah, some have given us positive responses, while others are thinking through in terms of how to move on and how to work with the union as an institution. So collectively, there is a belief, a sense that the union will have to move forward, and there will be one day, one occasion where all of us shall meet and move on, especially those who have some issues within them with respect to the processes that brought us on board, with respect to the processes that we challenge as a group. Oh, no regret. I mean, I can never ever express a regret because conflict is a part of life. And to straighten up some organizations or to lead change, right, you must exhaust all of the means to ensuring that the right thing is done. And the press union, as a pro-democracy institution, as a social justice institution that believes in the promotion of the very democracy and social justice, we utilize the various means. We do not engage in any act or acts of violence, and we ensure that we got a ruling that was deemed legitimate, both at the Supreme Court and at the lower courts or courts, because there were other people who also challenged the Eaton Committee's work, and that matter was thrown out of court. So there's no regret. I think it will help to strengthen the PUL with the issue of respect to constitutionalism. I mean, to the Constitution of the Union, but also to the different provisions. And it also gives us or guardians as to how to move forward. Because us too, we are the present incumbents. Any attempt by us to engage in acts that are unconstitutional, especially acts that will affect the institution, the credibility or integrity of the institution, could be challenged by people like you, O'Neill, or Marka, or any journalists in the country. So yes, the other negative and the issue is while the union was down, yes, the reputation of the institution suffered, and we lost some level of engagement with key international actors. And we are doing all we can to reforge, to refashion our relationship with some of these actors that are very crucial to the integrity, the dignity, and credibility of the institution we call the PUL. And some of these actors themselves negotiated, they mediated, and I mean, at a certain stage, they all agree that the matter must be resolved by the courts to ensure that the rule of law is respected and adhered to by all of us in the journalism and media community. Because the matter that was before the court was a matter of fraud, right? The manipulation of the membership registration, which of course, I mean, the court heard and the court made a judgment, and which of course, different mediators, including some members of the intern committee, they listened, to both sides. They did their own investigations, and at a certain stage, they themselves were calling for a fresh electoral process on the basis of the registration of 2022 and of the various candidates. So yes, it will strengthen the PUL, but we acknowledge the fact that yes, the institution was in the state of paralysis for nearly 2 years. And that state of paralysis, all of us, we contributed to the debate, whether you were on the opposing side or on another side or on the fence or in the middle. But at a certain stage, there was a consensus that the union would have to have a ruling from the court so that it becomes binding and all of us can learn to move forward. But conflict can strengthen institutions.
Conflict strengthen institutions.
Yes, it can strengthen institutions. Okay. Whenever you come from conflict, you will do all you can to maintain the integrity of the institution. So us too, we are guarding the union professionally so that we don't get into another conflict. Conflict is bad, right? In some instances, that we normally say is devastating. It can be brutal. It can undermine the survivability of the institution. But when you immerse other conflict, it creates an opportunity or pathway to moving forward.
Great. Journalism is a very unique profession that anyone who will desire to do. Is journalism losing its taste in Liberia? Now, nowadays, you see anybody pick up a mobile phone and just go live. Well, not going through the proper training like some of us. You went starting class, others have done. Journalism, is it losing its taste now in our country?
Well, journalism has not lost its taste, or it is not losing its taste. The only thing is, journalism, in the proper sense of journalism, is being challenged by the advent of social media and the proliferation of different social media networking sites or platforms, where people who, like you said, do not have the necessary skill sets or trainings, or do not have the necessary foundation, take up, a telephone with a data in it, and they call themselves journalists, right? Yes, fine. Julius Canova, TV. O'Neill Roberts, TV, right? The TV, right? Right. So it is a challenge. But one thing I know is if people do not hear on news on or do not get their information from Truth FM, for example, from ELBC, OKFM, I mean, the established media institutions that are recognized and accredited, right? They will be able to express some level of skepticism, right? I mean, most of our information, we want those information to come from the legitimate sources of information, right? Channels, like True FM, for example. I was listening to the news this morning. In fact, before I came here, around like 5 o'clock, I got a text from the Wave Venture in Lofa County that they needed to interview me on the same subject matter and we'll discuss. And later, one of the interviewers asked me, what do you make of the president's speech about the ruling of the Supreme Court? And I was the shock because I I did not listen. So you can be able to see that we believe in the essence of the traditional established media institutions. And so he brought a point, and I told him, well, I did not listen. But if the president has acknowledged, for example, the ruling of the court, and he says that he'll work with a quorum, and the Supreme Court already defined and worked and constitutes a quorum, it means and it is in a good direction, especially wherein we are going in line with the Constitution. So I got that information from a journalist proper, right? And when I say a journalist proper, somebody who has gone through the rudiments of journalism, somebody who is bounded by the ethical code of conduct of journalists, right? And of the press union of Liberia. And this is the emphasis. When you're practicing journalism, before you are called a professional journalist, you must be somebody that will be covered under a core of ethics, right? And that core of ethics is articulated and enforced by the Press Union of Liberia. So if you are not a member of the PUL, the possibility of you being called a professional journalist within society can be limited, right? I'm not saying they cannot call you professional journalists, but if you are not a member of a professional grouping and who has the authority, who is authorized to call you a professional journalist, right? Well, for
we have journalists in the country. How many full members, your membership base, your full coverage?
Well, the last membership registration that was issued by the Intern Committee, it said we have a membership base of 1,527 across the country, and that covers both active or practicing journalists and non-active or non-practicing journalists. Because, for example, O'Neill, Rabos, or Marka, and the Davids, you can be at True FM. At a certain stage, you will leave the profession. Maybe you take up a job in the private sector or the public sector, not necessarily practicing journalism. But as long as you were a member of the PUL and you were a journalist at the time and you left the media, you are also entitled to the full membership of the PUL until you engage in acts that are unconstitutional. Like, for example, if you become a politician, obviously your full membership will have to be reviewed, right? You cannot get that full membership. But if you become, for example, a communication specialist at a particular entity outside of the media, and you were a journalist and full member of the PUL, the Constitution says that you are entitled to hold your full membership. In some instances, you can vote, but you cannot be voted for. So what we are doing now, on the 18th of March, working with the membership committee, the leadership of the PUL released what we call a policy regulation for the professional registration, professional accreditation, and professional accountability of journalists and members of the Press Union of Liberia and communication practitioners in the country. So the registration process is ongoing. It is for 2 months. Once we complete that process, the membership and the committee does its work, and then the new list will be published, right? It is possible the membership will increase. It is possible it will decline. But it is also possible that people will register and will not be in good standing with the union. One of your colleagues at Truth FM, Corris, he went at the union, for instance, he did his registration. I think we need to issue him his receipt because at the time he said he did not get the receipt, but I think the receipt should be ready now, right? So he behind me every day. Brazil, I need my receipt, right? So he's doing all to be in good standing with the union. You have to pay your dues, right? That makes you a good standing member of the union. You also have to adhere by the constitution of the union. It makes you a good standing member of the union. Because in the future, O'Neill, if you don't register or you register, you don't pay your dues, somebody can challenge your eligibility to benefit from certain benefits from the PUL itself. For example, one of the good things of the PUL, you can contest for elective positions. The union can also defend your rights. The union can also intervene with respect to your welfare. The union can also intervene with respect to the issue of salary negotiations or when you're in trouble with your management, right? Yes. So we are trying to bring back that particular spirit, and we want all journalists, media and communication professionals, and institutions to register with the PUL so that the union can be stronger. Because from the presidential dinner, right, and one thing the information minister says, I mean, We have the press union that does the self-regulation of journalists. No journalist in Liberia can self-regulate his or herself, right? And so we have, to respect the institution. And at a certain stage, we have to categorize the different journalists in the country, right? Because
this brings me to my next question. Yes, maybe you heard in there. Let's look at the ethical standards. Ethical standard. How does the union ensure that its members adhere to ethical journalism standards, especially in the era of misinformation?
Yes, the core ethics and conduct is enforced, right? We've received many different complaints. In fact, just recently, a member of the House of Representatives complained, one of us, to the union. And we have a committee. First, that was the Grievance and Ethics Committee. It was transformed in 2016 in Ghana to the National Media Council. But the council, the work of the council is something we've been reviewing as to whether we actually need the council or we need to have the Grievance and Ethics Committee, because the council does not meet unless there is quorum. I think at the level of the legislature, for example, when there is no quorum, it becomes a problem. So in the past, we've had instances where sometimes the council will call a hearing and then the council does not have a quorum. And when there is no quorum, you cannot function as a body. And so we've been holding different levels of discussions with different media stakeholders to see how we can adapt and move forward. We receive different complaints, and one of our weaknesses, and we apologize to everyone who has complained to the PUL. We've not been able to expedite all of the complaints, right? Some have resulted into mediations, and then the journalists either retracted what they published, or the person who brought the complaint acknowledged the fact that the journalist was acting in line with journalism code and ethics. Yes, so the enforcement aspect is what we are working on. We need people of credibility, of integrity, people who will be effective and efficient to ensuring that we have a high standard at the union. Because O'Neill, one of the institutions that many journalists do refer to when it comes to the issue of ethical enforcement is the Liberia National Bar Association, right? The bar, yes, the bar can revoke the bar can revoke licenses, can issue licenses, and can revoke, but on the basis of due process, right? But the bar is a legislative institution, and this is where we have to recognize, right? The bar has got certain power to issue license. The press union does not have that power to issue license because journalism is not a profession that is licensed. I mean, in the proper sense, wherein you can say, oh, no, if you don't have your license, you can't practice journalism. No, the press union does not do that, right? So what we have is professional accreditation. Professional accreditation, by our own, understanding, is also a form of licensing, right? Because if O'Neill does not have a professional accreditation, his journalistic practice or career can be questioned. Now, you don't belong to a professional grouping that issues you a professional accreditation. So we are working to ensure that the membership of the union is more attached to the institution so that our profession becomes the sort of a noble profession that all of us aspire it to be and do claim it to be. So yes, we will work to ensure that the Grievance and Ethics Committee, the National Media Council as it is now called, is effective and functional. We appeal and apologize to all those who have filed complaints. We've not taken your complaints for granted. In fact, I mean, some of the judges at the level of the court, they've also reverted to the PUL because the PUL is that governing body. And sometimes too, we are challenged, right? If somebody comes up and say, Julius Canova TV, that person has got no record at the level of the PUL, and the person is not a member of the PUL. How do we ensure ethical enforcement? Right? Yes. So one thing is, as long as you are using the space of journalism, the space of communication, you have to be governed professionally by the PUL. Because anything that happens, it falls on us, right? People will make reference to the PUL. That is why we are excited. And I mean, we took the responsibility very. Well, people have got different ways of coining different words. Sometimes the unprofessionalism within the media sector, or some of the observations that people do make who say, oh yeah, Julius, you're allowed join the list, meaning you've joined the list of people who are unprofessional, or you're journalists, as in the proper sense of the word journalists, that you are bound by ethical codes, and that you are practicing journalism with professionalism, and that you are following the different constitutional rules of the country. Because sometimes us too as journalists, I have a car, for example. Sometimes you be driving without a license, right? And when the police arrest you, you say, I'm a journalist, I'm a journalist, leave me, I have to go and do my work. No, you're violating the rules of engagement. So, yes, we have to live up to the expectations of the public. But yes, we get concerned because it's a negative connotation when you're called John the List. I mean, it does not augur well for your reputation as an individual or your credibility as an individual. But it's something that we are relying on because journalism is a social institution. And by social institution, it has to be legitimated by both us journalists and by members of the society. That's why when you open the line today, people will either agree with me or disagree with me. I mean, it's a form of acceptability, which is the issue of legitimacy.
Great. We'll also refer as a gatekeeper, member of the fourth estate. Now, let's look at the role of the union. In your view, what is the role of the union shaping public perception in times of crisis? We have crisis. There are a lot of opinions. The union, go ahead.
Well, the union is a very critical arm of the governance processes of our country. In fact, no government in a democratic context or in a non-democratic context can govern without the media. So governing with the media is very, very essential, especially the news media, right? And this is crucial. The union is a civic society organization in its own right, right? An institution of journalism, which is one of the fundamental pillars of democracy. So the PUL as an institution has got to play a leading role in shaping public perceptions of opinions within our society on policy issues of national significance. That is why the union has got a body, or the journalism community and media community has got a body that is there to not only observe journalism practices or media practices, but also larger practices of governance, both in the public and private sectors of our country. And this is essential. When the union speaks, it speaks as a media community representing the voice and voices of the journalism community of our country, but also the larger society. Our statements were thought of. We do consult, but also we take an independent, impartial perspective. And what is also interesting, members of the union can disagree with the position of the union. And members of the union can also agree with the position of the union. There's nothing that refrain O'Neill, for example, from saying, yes, I agree with this position of the PUL, but in some instances, I myself, I disagree, right? It's part of it. But when the union speaks, it speaks from an impartial position. Even people who had some level of reservations on our candidacy in 2022, they've now come to the reality that we are an impartial actor as a union, right? And that impartiality must always be there, no matter who goes to the PUL. So we intend to make the union a robust institution, very active in terms of Committee on National Governance issues to change perspective. And what is also critical on you, we do listen to all of you, not in every second or every minute, but some of your conversations, some of your leading interviews with politicians. In fact, when you as an institution, I mean, Truth FM, when you posted that you were interviewing the president, I mean, it became something that caught national attention. It also caught our attention.
It caught the attention of the press union.
Of the press union. I mean, seriously, because we listen, and at 9 o'clock, you are still waiting, and then at a certain stage, you say, "Oh no, the interview cannot go ahead because of different things." Which, of course, I mean, we were like almost at the verge of calling you because we also wanted to take a position. Because when the president of the republic speaks to journalists, right? I mean, we have to listen. The questions you are asking, how you are handling the interview, for example. I know some of your colleagues, in fact, before the interview, they already had their perspectives on you or Marka, right? Or on the president. So as a union, we're interested in the interview, but unfortunately, it did not happen. We hope the presidency can grant you that particular space, because leaders must be held accountable and leaders must be able to speak with the public, not every time reading from the paper, but you come and sit. Because before President Marka, for instance, became president as a candidate, he came on your platform, and he maximized the time you gave him. He also answered some of the questions, and you sparked some controversy in terms of some of the things that he said.
100 days. I remember the interview with him. That was the biggest thing in opposition community.
That's it.
With the
Yeah.
president, then he was contesting. He said, in 100 days, no cow hitching the mud. That interview was a big one.
Yeah, it became widespread. And so that's the function of journalism, to bring out things where policy actors will make policy pronouncements and they are held accountable in the future for some of those pronouncements. And the president too is observing the processes of governance within the country. So that's how we take our perspective on issues. Because O'Neill, when you read the editorials of different news media within the country, especially from the print, or you listen to the newscasts of different radio stations or even online platforms, right, what they are saying could reflect their personal perspectives, which could be underpinned by facts or fakeness. But the issue is people are commenting. And the president, to take a position, we do read the different editorials of different newspapers. We do listen to some of your perspectives. Sometimes we agree with you. Sometimes we also disagree with you. And you two can agree with us and you disagree with us. So that what makes the society to function, right? And to move on in a more democratic manner. And some of the positions of the PUL are respected by the government. When the president speaks, he speaks for policy actions to be initiated and taken. And that's why when we held the presidential dinner with the president, we had that opportunity to speak for 2 minutes.
Yes, we'll get to national issues shortly. This issue of journalists taking side, nowadays, if you turn off the radio, due to all fairness, you hear some journalists like they are 100% aligned with a political party. Is that a way?
It is a delicate issue, right? Because if you are a member of the PUL, you must be an impartial journalist, right? On the other hand, we recognize the political ownership of the media has expanded significantly. For example, some media institutions are owned by politicians. But what we do tell the working journalists and media practitioners is that you have a career, you have a future, and you have an institution to protect. And that institution is the institutional journalism. You must not toe the line of anyone in violation of the Constitution or the core ethics and conduct for journalists. If you do so, the president can hold you accountable when you are complained. What we are working on behind the scene is to create a system of media monitoring, for example, the major talk shows, the editorials, or some of the reporting by the news or print media, right? So that we can be proactive in terms of response or responses, right? If, for instance, we monitor Truth FM for 3 months, we can be able to issue a report about how the talk show at True FM or a particular talk show is being conducted, whether the talk show is adhering to the principle of ethical journalism or media, whether the journalists who are journalists at True FM are also following. Well, when the political commentators yes, we have to be clear, right? And this is why we are drawing something up. It's still in the drafting stage, right? Where in the future, the president will be bold to say, O'Neill Roberts is a professional journalist based on the practices, based on his workings, right? And this other person is not a professional journalist, and he is a partisan journalist or a very impartial journalist. And the president at certain states will take that position so that we can be able to distinguish political propagandists from the journalists who are proper, right? I know there are some journalists who were very much professional in the past, but the transition into this sort of a pedantry style of journalism, right? Where you become a commentator and you're not following any ethics now, but you have to publicly tell your audience that yes, in as much as you used to be a journalist, but you have a side in this particular matter. And it is allowed for us to take side, right, as journalists. But when we take side, we must be able to tell the public that this is our side, right? I mean, even the Constitution of the Press Union of Liberia, when you're giving an opinion on an issue as a journalist, you can state that this is your opinion. Opinions are largely intended to influence society, but they can be misleading in some instances or in most instances. And I mean, as long as you have the facts, you communicate the facts. And journalism is about communicating the facts, truth telling. Like in True FM, truth telling is very crucial. If you're now a truth talker, I mean, you should not be able to work for Truth FM. But again, the ideals and the practice can somehow clash or can somehow vary, right? So yes, in the future, we will ensure that yes, our colleagues who are journalists proper, they follow the ethical codes. If not, we'll put you into a category of either an amateur journalist or a citizen journalist or just an unprofessional journalist.
To miss out on you, this is the president of the Press Union of Liberia, Jules Conenberg. You can't tell the public in re-echo. You had the opportunity to spend not more than 2 minutes. You spoke at the presidential dinner of the president. It's a good thing to president to sit with the media. You cannot tell the public exactly what you say. I think it's helpful as the union president.
But the speech was short, and like you rightly said, we're mandated to speak for 2 minutes. And first was to acknowledge, the organization of the dinner and the decision of the president to avail himself to the larger media community. We did not call that program, and some people again carried fake information that in fact we try to exclude urban journalists from rural journalists. I mean that was misleading. The Press Union will be celebrating World Press Freedom Day, for instance, right? We will invite all journalists, and we expect those in the rural areas or those in the urban areas to also come. But the dinner was not organized by the PUL. So when we had the opportunity, we commended the president for availing himself. We also brought out some of the challenges confronting the media. The issue of advertising revenues. The media largely functions on advertising revenues in terms of its survivability. Your Truth FM, for example, in as much, yes, you have your owners, but you will also have to generate some money to pay the staff. So we informed the president in the gathering that yes, this has fallen. Advertising revenue has fallen, and it has impacted the survivability and the functioning of some media institutions. The issue of the payments of journalists, the quality of journalism, in fact, is being impacted by low advertising revenues, right? And then we also made mention of the fact that the government is also, like other advertisers, they are also owing the media, indebted to the media. And then we touched on the issue of the transformation of the Liberia broadcasting system into a public service broadcaster that will be impartial, independently controlled, rather than just promoting the interests of the government. ERBC must promote the interests of every Liberian, right? And that is crucial in terms of accountability. ERBC, for instance, is now accountable to us as citizens of the country, right? ERBC is mostly accountable to the appointing powers, and that is the executive branch of government headed by the president. So we spoke on that particular issue. We also made mention of the issue of the rule of law, which we informed the president that his administration, if there is anything his administration must not compromise, is the issue of the rule of law. Because it is the rule of law that upholds society. It is the rule of law that maintains the stability of order within society. Any attempt to undermine the rule of law, to disrespect the rule of law, will go into a state of chaos. And chaos, right? Chaos will be in conflict, and it will undermine the very government, its agenda, the AARD, the arrest agenda for inclusive development. It will also undermine the functioning of the society. So we elaborated these points, and as some part of the speech, we also reflected on the issue of the community radio sector, which is very, very critical because O'Neill, Truth FM, yes, I know you have some branches across the country, but you might not be in every county. There are community radio stations that are operating. And what we've observed in the past months or year or so, there are some politicians who are now interfering in the workings of community radio stations, right? They go to these community radio stations, they want to change the management, they want to change the board, not following the rule of law or the mechanisms that put these radio stations in place, right? So we informed the president that the community radio sector is threatened and that he must be able to advise his superintendents, for example, local county officials, that these radio stations, in as much as some are receiving fundings from the government in terms of the county social development fund or the county development fund, no politician is allowed to dissolve the board of a community radio station and to appoint their own people to these community radio stations. The mechanisms that are in place as to the appointment, as to the tenure of these community radio stations boards or in the management team must be respected. So in short, those were some of the points we elaborated on, and we concluded to rephrase the president's own motto. You know, before he became president, President Marka, as a politician, brought about this issue about think Liberia, love Liberia, and build Liberia. So we rephrased it to the president because the media environment is challenged. We said, Mr. President, it is time that the government or the society as a whole think the media and loves the media and builds the media.
Yes, go ahead.
Because the media is a part of the society, and people can forget. People just feel that Truth FM is operating, and Truth FM has got everything good and does not have any problem. But the government, for example, to think the media is for the president to make himself available at True FM to come and have interview with you.
Interestingly, the president spoke last night. There was no national anthem. Can you imagine it?
Yes, I did not listen.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
There was no national anthem played by protocol. The national anthem should play first at the start, then the president come in, and at the end as well. There was nothing's done as such.
Yes, I mean, if that was the case, I don't know why it happened. And I don't know where the president was when he addressed the nation, whether from the executive mansion or from his rehab residence, or whether he used
from wherever in the world, there should be the national anthem. The national anthem should play before the president's speech.
Yes, I agree with you. Yeah, so I don't know how the protocol arranged it, but again, sometimes there can be some technical difficulties. I mean, I'm not giving excuse for the president because I don't know the context.
Okay, great. Let's move on. Respecting. You spoke before the president with the presidential dinner, respecting the rule of law and the Supreme Court. What's your own position on the Supreme Court ruling? This is up on the Facebook. You're saying the Chief Justice the conclusion of the Supreme Court opinion and judgment on December 6 is that any certain action by the majority bloc to the exclusion of a speaker, Kofa, the duly elected presiding officer of the House, while present and available to preside, is unconstitutional. You listen up to the Supreme Court ruling, and the public is concerned. What is the press union own stand?
Well, in the first place, the press union is interested in the rule of law, and as part of it, we took up our time to go at the Supreme Court to listen to the ruling on the Bill of Information as filed by the Speaker Fonati Kofa and some members of the House of Representatives. Well, our position that we took was that first, we commended the Supreme Court for finally providing this sort of a crucial legal clarity in that particular case with respect to the Bill of Information in its previous ruling. When the Supreme Court previously ruled, the press union took a position, and that position was clear that we need to respect the ruling of the Supreme Court, and that the court was very clear, although some of us said the ruling was ambiguous, right? And some people, when you see some people using that word ambiguous, it is intended to create this sort of a pathway of taking certain actions that are not constitutional. So in light of the ruling by the Supreme Court, the press union acknowledged the work of the Supreme Court and stated that the ruling represents or presents or reflects the Supreme Court's own unwavering or steadfast commitment to upholding the rule of law within the country without fear or favor or without bias. And in light of the ruling, we also urge members of the House of Representatives, both from the majority and minority and the sessions of the House, to uphold the rule of law by respecting the ruling of the court, and not only respecting the ruling, but by adhering to the letter and spirit of the ruling. And that is very crucial. members of the House are elected on the basis of the rule of law. Without the rule of law, that is the Constitution, members of the House will not have that opportunity to, in fact, sit in the House of Representatives or the Senate. And we stated very clearly that the press union, as an institution, we are dedicated to promoting democracy and the rule of law within our country, or social justice, and that all members of the House must act with national responsibility, put the national interest first above all partisan divisions or interests. And we concluded, and this is very crucial, and I will read it right. The last paragraph said the press union, additionally, the PUL implores President Joseph Yuma Boka, the executive branch, and the Liberian Senate to refrain from taking any actions that could undermine the authority of the Supreme Court by avoiding engagement with any parallel leadership structure within the House that lacks constitutional legitimacy. Because the Supreme Court was very clear that J. Fonati Kofa remains the Speaker of the House of Representatives until he's removed, in keeping with the laid down procedure. And we were disappointed by the fact that shortly after the Supreme Court ruling, some members of the House started to say that they would not, respect the decision of the Supreme Court. The actions that they took, it would remain in effect. Well, those actions were deemed unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. And if you are a member of the House, know that you took an oath to defend, protect, preserve the Constitution of the Republic. So any attempt by any lawmaker to disrespect the Supreme Court, that will not be countenanced by the PUL or by the larger society within our country. And we are willing to work with different actors to ensure that this Supreme Court ruling is respected to the letter.
President, how do you think the rest of the world looking at this? The higher decision body, the arbitrator of the law, have made a decision, and our lawmakers on the majority bloc are not adhering to it. How do you take us to?
Well, we saw the statement by Representative Richard Kuhn, right? And Kuhn, you came to elections through the rule of law. You must be able to respect the Supreme Court. In fact, when there was this issue in your district, where somebody who wanted to contest, and that person went to the Supreme Court, the very Supreme Court ruled against that particular person. He was taken to court. So it is the rule of law that holds society together, right? If you say you have the numbers, nobody cares about the politics. And one thing that the Chief Justice also said, which of course I, as a student of politics and governance or development, who partly, to some extent, disagree with the Chief Justice, is this issue of the intrinsic relationship between politics and the rule of law, right? Politics and law. So in her opening statement, yes, she already stated the very foundational basis of politics and the rule of law. But later she said it is the rule of law that creates politics. Well, it is politics that creates the rule of law in the first instance, right? It's not about the issue of the chicken and egg and the debate, which one came first. But the issue there is, before the laws were created, there were practices that led to the creation of the rule of law. And that is what we call politics. Those sort of contestations, confrontations, negotiations, working to ensure the society is governed more peacefully. And when the rule of law is created, the rule of law governs politics. And this is where I also agree with her, right? It is the rule of law that governs politics. So the laws are already made in this particular instance. And perhaps that was what the Chief Justice meant, that the law as a constitution is already made and it is governing politics. And nobody should say, because I listen to some of the callers, right? They say, oh no, when the Supreme Court rules, that rule cannot supersede the politics of the legislature. No, the politics of the legislature is governed by the Constitution. There is nothing a member of the House or the legislature should do that will undermine the rule of law. Anything unconstitutional will have to be heard by the Supreme Court.
Right.
And just before you come in, one thing that we need to promote is the issue of some senators who attended that particular hearing by the Supreme Court in terms of the ruling. And they were very clear. Some of these senators are supporting the very government in terms of being members of the alliance, the Darius Dillon. Dillon said the Supreme Court has spoken and the Supreme Court ruling is clear. that J. Funati Kofa is the speaker, I, as a senator, I am willing to abide by the ruling of the Supreme Court, right? Kofa is the speaker. Senator Edwin Snow also said the same thing, although he's been on the side of Kofa, but he just re-emphasized. So that is good, because if the Senate does not recognize the constitutional legitimacy of Representative Richard Kun as quote unquote, that speaker, he cannot function. If the executive, per what I read, right, and by the president, is saying it will work with the quorum as defined by the Supreme Court, it means that yes, Kofa remains the speaker until he can get a quorum. And the Constitution is a mechanism that is very much big. We must read the Constitution. The Constitution gives the minority in the House of Representatives, like the Senate, powers, right? You can't ignore the minority, no matter how much you are in the majority. And that's why the Supreme Court has ruled that yes, majority, you can do anything, but you cannot claim the instrumentalities or governance of the House without going through the proper mechanisms, right?
Okay.
So you must. And the Constitution also warned, or the Supreme Court also warned Kofa, that you can't do anything besides compelling the guys who are in the majority to come. And if they say they don't want you, there's no mechanisms in place to hold them accountable. Because in the past, right, Speaker Kofa and some members of his bloc, they elaborated publicly that they wanted to take certain actions against those from the majority bloc. But the Supreme Court is saying you can't do anything aside from calling these people to come to session. So I like the fact President Walker has addressed the issue, and he has said he will work with the quorum. And that quorum is a quorum that is defined by the Constitution as elaborated.
So quickly before we get the lines activated, we're running into time. I've seen this quorum thing is the biggest thing on the social media now. Quorum.
No, I mean, I read.
There are some executives who saying, well, couldn't have the quorum, but the Supreme Court have said, yeah, the majority is there, but they don't see a speaker. What's your stand on this?
Who does not have the quorum? If you listen to the ruling by the Supreme Court about parallel session, that parallel session is not a quorum, right? It's an illegal, illegitimate parallel session that you're having. In fact, when the president took a position in December, we said extra legal group, right? I mean, you're not you are not confining to the legal dictates of the Constitution. So it has to be clear, right? I mean, for us, we're not interested who becomes a speaker because only members of the House can do that. But we are interested in
this is Councilor Shalin Bronsky. We're running out of time. Shalin Bronsky, a renowned lawyer in Liberia, she said, if the Supreme Court decision is not taken into consideration, it's a slap in the face to the justice system. It's a slap in the face to the highest decision body in the land. This is Shalin Bronsky.
Well, Shalin Bronsky is right. I mean, I was at the General Assembly of the Bar that was held, I think, at the end of March or the beginning of April. Yes, and Charlene was the keynote speaker, and she spoke on the issue of the rule of law. And as a lawyer, I mean, she knows that, what the law is and the role of the law in society. So I agree with Charlene Bronsky that we must not, and that's what the president said, you can undermine the integrity or authority of the court. The executive, as President Barker stated, must, and as the information minister stated, must comply by the ruling of the Supreme Court. I mean, if the guys say they have the majority, which of course is the issue of the numbers and the legislature, I mean, you must follow the legal means. Because you don't want a situation where today, because majority is favoring Kun, that same majority could come out tomorrow and say, we don't want Kun. And Kun is thereby removed. Is that the later constitutional processes or mechanisms? No. Let's follow the Constitution. I don't agree with anyone that do say, oh, legislative politics is number. Wheresoever the number is, there where the right is. No. Majority in a democracy, we have to comply by the Constitution.
Great, we went our radio time already. So let's review calls of Julius Konuba is the president of the Press Union of Liberia, sharing breakfast with us on this last segment of the TBS Friday morning. Let's get a few calls up, at least until 10:15. We'll call it a day on a Friday. Yes, the president of the Press Union of Liberia is live with us, 0770-153-265. Let's do a minute per call. If I can pick 4 or 5 calls, then we'll call it a day. We're into our commercials time already. 0770-153-265. Call us if you live on the TBS this morning. The President of Liberia President is with us this morning on the last segment. Let's pick this call on this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Neil. Thank you for taking my call. Good morning to Mr. Manba, and thank you for coming to the studio. My question is, do you see Mr. Marka, President Marka, as a media-friendly president, whether he's on the high list or mediocre or not too much? The other thing is, with the House, I was wondering whether you have your opinion on whether these people that call themselves the majority bloc will be prosecuted for violating the law in the sense of removing, so to speak, as an elected official, an elected Speaker of the House of Representatives, which is Mr. Kofa. Would you see that being prosecuted at one point? Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you. Let's do a minute call. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Dixie from my boy from the Highway.
Dixie, I don't want to cut you though. I'm hearing myself in the background. Yeah.
All right. This is the brother. One of the things where people are saying he was listen to the court ruling and he would work with the legitimate world. So for me, I think President may work for that he carry on the executive function by withdrawing more security and Marka with and place it back to the Honorable Speaker. And I see the next day when the horse go back to work and see if the Takun will be able to, the Speaker will be able to convince the Cody and see if the President will. But after the change, I don't think the President is saying anything, but he said he will.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you. Yes, I've been cooked and I joined the conversation from Weaver community. Thank you very much for the conversation. But that's my question. I think Mark who are also the gender. But that's my question. Is there any code of conduct for journalists? Because my question is that we have a bar association, we have a medical association, we have a country association that is over a school rules and laws that regulate their behavior. Because anybody who wants to on the public, the PL will work on the and there's no meaningful action taken by them that to serve as deterrent.
Okay. Yes.
If a official wants the journalist, then
it's a problem. Thank you, Avin. Thank you, Avin. We don't have much time. This is our last caller. Morning.
Thank you, O'Neill. And let me just count up for the president of the PU. For him and I'll shut up.
Please ask the question.
Yeah, so what do you think? Don't you think it is necessary that the Supreme Court has defined very why is it wrong? The president should also withdraw also the immunity that has been given him, by the executive on the reliance of the opinion of the justice minister.
Okay. Yes, hang up the line. Yes, you're actually listening up to the call. We're running into our time. We're already into our time. Let's use the next 5 minutes. We'll close up. Listen up. Go ahead.
Well, thanks to all of the callers. The callers are well informed and elaborated on different points. To the first caller, I did not get his name, but whether President Walker is media friendly. Well, I mean, I don't know what you mean by media friendly, because the issue of being media friendly is something that can be interpreted differently. But yes, the president is one person who has been giving interviews to journalists whenever he comes from out of the country, no matter how controlled some of these interviews are. And I mean, the other point is he has not been able to go from different radio stations to different radio stations to have interviews. If that is media friendly, well, good. If it is the issue of the respect for the for the media, the rights of the media, free speech and expression, well, we've seen a demonstrated will by the government to respecting free speech and expression, the rights of the media to operate without muscling the press, which of course these points were elaborated and articulated at the presidential dinner. On the issue by the first caller, will the majority bloc be prosecuted at some point? Well, it is not for me to say. Those who feel strongly offended by the actions of the majority bloc, well, they have the legal means to pursue. like Speaker Kofa has done, which is the right thing, they've already been prosecuted. I mean, this ruling is a slap in the face of their actions or actions that they took. On the second caller, Dixon Tamba, if I got the name correctly, we work with legitimate quorum, with our security, and the issue of the padlock cars, where the president said he will work with the legitimate quorum. Well, that is good. It's good for our democracy that the president must respect the ruling of the Supreme Court. On the issue of the withdrawal of security and padlock cars from the Richard Kuhn, well, that is something the executive must look into speedily and very much in keeping with the rule of law. But I don't know some of the rules that are in place as to when do you have a padlock car or security or not, because VIPs are VIPs and they are protected. So I'm told that Speaker Kofa, he has got his own security. If it is required that he has state security, the state security must be deployed immediately to ensure that he gets all of the benefits of being a Speaker of the Republic. To the third caller, Arvin, whether there is any code of ethics for journalists, yes, there are code of ethics for journalists that are in play in the code of conduct to hold them accountable. We are working to ensure the enforcement of the ethical code of journalism. I like the fact that you mentioned the Liberia National Bar, the Medical Association, the accountants. Well, the president will work to raise the bar at the PUL. And the last caller, I did not get your name, whether I think that it is necessary for the president to withdraw immunities. Well, something that is unconstitutional. I mean, the Supreme Court has already spoken on it. So we need now to follow the path of the rule of law to ensure that the society is governed in a more proper manner.
What do you foresee? What do you predict in the coming days at the lower house?
Well, it's hard because politics can be hard to predict. But I expect, given the speech by Speaker Kofa, where he said he's willing to make the ultimate sacrifice, and wherein he said he's working. I mean, he's willing to reach out to the Deputy Speaker, Representative Richard Kuhn, and also.
You think Kofa will resign? He have won this battle. He has won it. He has spoken up, man. You think he'll resign and just let it go for the country's sake?
He spoke previously of a transition in his Facebook post, and with the ruling, he spoke of a transition. But is it a transition from the quote-unquote unconstitutional actions taken by the group or the majority bloc, a transition from them to him, or from him to another group of leaders of the House? Well, my own political readings is that he does not have the majority at this particular stage, right? He has people who are following him, but they are in the minority. If he can work between now and whatsoever time they are reconvening to win over the votes or the confidence of his colleagues, then he will preside. If not, I think he will go. He will let go the position, and that's what when I listen to the president's address, he said he's working with different leaders in the country, like the traditional leaders, to help to mediate. I think some reasonings will come. Some compromises will have to be made. And for us as a pro-democracy institution...
Dakova have won a case, but...
legally he
won the case. The Supreme Court decision is not going to be accepted by the majority bloc. And
it will be accepted by the majority bloc.
If Kofa resigns.
I mean, well, if Kofa
resigns, do we still have a speaker?
Well, if
Kofa resigns, do we still have a speaker?
No, if Kofa as the constitutionally elected speaker
resigns, do we still have a speaker?
If he resigns, well, it means that there is no speaker. The deputy speaker will take on the role of the speakership in an acting capacity, and then the elections will be held for the speaker proper in line with the constitution, right? And maybe I don't have to see and say it on air, but after the ruling, we met people who are around Kofa. Asking them what's next. Is he contemplating resignation, or is he contemplating reaching out to get the numbers? Because to govern the House, you need numbers, and if you don't have the numbers, obviously, you will have to go. If you don't have the numbers, because like the president said, you can hold governance hostage, right? If majority says they don't want to sit under you and you have a problem, and like you said, you are willing to make the ultimate sacrifice, I think there can be some compromises, some negotiations for the proper thing to be done and for our democracy to be set on the path to consolidation that the Supreme Court has done. So again, the President commends the Supreme Court for providing this crucial legal clarity. And the press union, as a pro-democracy institution, we will always preach the rule of law. And to the members of society, yes, give us the time. We are on new administration, and we are working to ensure we put into place every mechanism to ensure that the press union is stronger and that we hold journalists, media and communication practitioners accountable for their practices. But we can also reward people. That's why the press union normally have what we call the annual awards. I know you won some awards before, which is good for the journalism community.
Great, Judas Konuma. Let us make that at least once a month. Let's do this, man. It's a pleasure to have a president here with me, man.
Yes, because we want to extend this also to the presidency. I mean, they'll have to grant you an interview. I mean, they must do all, because that famous interview and all your hard questions. I hope it was not the questions that you were preparing, and then they go afraid.
The president is a statement. He must be usual respect.
Yes, I know the president will appear on your show at a certain stage, and he will appear on different media shows. Yeah, so to the caller who said about the issue of media friendly, well, a media friendly environment is an environment that allows the media to thrive, allows all of us to exercise our freedom of speech, our freedom of expression, and the rights of the media as an institution to operate. So the Joseph Walker administration has done nothing on the contrary, to my knowledge, except the issue of the strangulation of some media entities on the issue of debts. We can strangulate them, and we have spoken publicly on that. We informed the presidency, we informed the Ministry of Information, we informed the general public. But there's nothing to muzzle or to trample upon the rights of journalists and media and communication professionals. Some of my colleagues did mention to me that I did not speak on the issue of the safety of journalists in terms of the attacks or assaults. Well, when you are given 2 minutes to speak, sometimes you can include everything. But when we say press freedom, it means that journalists must be respected and they must be given the chance to operate in a safe environment.
All right.
So yes, those who assault journalists, those who engage into attacking journalists, there are means in place now. If you do it, you will be held accountable through the law enforcement institution and through the courts of our country.
Great. The voice of Julius Konumba closing us up on the Friday edition of the TBS, the Press Union of Liberia President. Thank you so much for following up. This I'll go home on the weekend edition of the TBS. Been wonderful having breakfast since 7:30 this morning. We'll be back on Monday. Yes, we're taking our weekend break. God bless Liberia, make Liberia great. You listen to a politician in America, they'll always say, God bless America and make the country great. Yes, God bless the country and make it great. This country belongs to every one of us. Thank you so much. On behalf of the entire team, Marka Davis, my name is Oni Roberts. I'll be back on Monday. Until then, have a gala weekend. Bye-bye.